The radius, there's not a lot of structures to know, but this is the radius. When you look at the ulna, I always say the ulna has a U-shaped notch, U for ulna. But this is the radius. This is the more lateral forearm bone. You should know that. Anyhow, when you're in anatomical position, this forearm bone is the more lateral forearm bone. You have the head of the radius, which the head is nice and round. That's going to articulate with the capitulum. You have a raised area right here. This is the radial tuberosity. Then at the distal end, you have the styloid process. Then you have also the ulnar notch. That ulnar notch is an articulation point for the ulna. The styloid process right here, that point, that's an attachment site for the brachioradialis muscle, as well as the radial collateral ligament. Then you have the articular facets of the radius. Actually, this is considered an articular facet on the head. That's the actual articulation point with the capitulum. Then on the distal end, this is the lateral side right here where the styloid process is. So you have an articular facet for the scaphoid. Then you have an articular facet for the lunate, which would be more medial. A little bit difficult to see with the sliding. Maybe that's a little bit better. Here's the styloid process right there. So that's the more lateral side. That facet right here is going to articulate with the scaphoid. This is going to articulate with the lunate. I'll show you that when we do the hand. I do want students to know how to tell left from right. It's fairly easy. If you know this bone is the more lateral forearm bone, put the radial tuberosity anterior. This is going to be an attachment site for the biceps brachii, which is one of your arm muscles. So going back to anatomical position, biceps brachii is going to attach there. This will be on the right side. Look at your ulnar notch. That ulnar notch has to articulate with the ulna, which is going to be the more medial forearm bone. This is the more lateral forearm bone. So it's going to be oriented like, trying to get this camera angle right, like this. I can't put it on this side because if this was going to be the more lateral forearm bone, that ulnar notch would have nothing to articulate with. If you moved it like this, well, look where the radial tuberosity is. So actually, it's oriented on your body like this. This is a right. And if you look at the capitulum and you look at the head of the radius, you can see how they articulate with one another. So when you supinate and pronate, that's going to turn along that capitulum, as well as when you flex the arm. You can see how it moves along the capitulum. See how it's nice and round? Also when you rotate. So you have the head of the radius, the radial tuberosity, styloid process, ulnar notch. Then you have the articular facet of the radius. There's actually one on the head. Then you have one for the scaphoid and lunate. One for the scaphoid would be the more lateral articulation surface. Radius. This is a right.